She didn't leave because she stopped loving. She left because every time she tried to hold on, something inside her kept breaking, and one day hope quietly ran out. Most people think relationships end with loud fights or betrayal, but that is not how love usually dies. It dies silently, when someone keeps loving but stops believing that things will ever change. She hoped the first time she explained her feelings you would understand. She hoped the second time you forgot what mattered to her you would remember, and she hoped the third time she cried alone you would notice the silence. Hope is not loud, it whispers maybe this time will be different, and she kept telling herself that until it started to feel like a lie. Love says I care about you, but hope says this can still grow. A woman can love deeply and still walk away, not because the love disappeared, but because the future stopped making sense. She was never asking for perfection, she was asking for direction. Love without direction feels heavy, like walking every day but never arriving anywhere. What breaks a woman is not pain, it is repetition, the same conversations, the same apologies, the same promises with new dates. At first she believes, then she waits, then she reminds, then she explains again more softly so it does not turn into a fight, and when she realizes she is explaining basic emotional needs to someone who claims to love her, something inside her slowly begins to shut down, not love but hope. People misunderstand silence in relationships. They think silence means peace, but silence means she is done begging. When she stops complaining, she has not healed, she is preparing for a life where she no longer has to keep proving that her feelings matter. Silence is not the absence of emotion, it is the absence of expectation. She did not become cold, she became tired of being warm alone. She used to ask questions, and now she just listens. She used to start conversations, and now she lets days pass. She used to imagine a future with you, and now she imagines peace. The hardest part is that she still loves you during this phase, and that is why it hurts so much. Men often notice the breakup, but miss the withdrawal. They remember the last argument, but forget the hundreds of small moments where she felt unseen. She did not want grand gestures, she wanted consistency, emotional safety, the feeling that when she speaks she will not be dismissed, when she is vulnerable she will not be mocked, and when she needs reassurance she will not be called too much. Most women do not leave because of one big mistake. They leave because of what kept not happening, not checking in, not following through, not showing up emotionally. Love does not die from one moment, it dies from many small absences. Hope has an expiry date. Every relationship runs on it, the belief that effort matters, that communication leads somewhere, that growth is possible. When hope dies, love has nowhere to live. When she finally leaves, people say she changed or she gave up, but they did not see the nights she stayed awake asking herself if she was asking for too much or simply asking the wrong person. She did not quit the relationship, she quit waiting to be prioritized, waiting to be understood without begging, waiting for actions to finally match words. If you are a woman listening and this feels familiar, know this. You are not weak for staying, and you are not cruel for leaving. Outgrowing what drains you is not betrayal, it is self-respect. Love should feel safe enough to breathe in, not tight enough to survive. And if you are a man listening, and she is quieter than she used to be, do not relax, lean in, ask the questions you are afraid of, listen without defending, show consistency instead of speeches. Because once hope is gone, no amount of love can bring it back. You do not lose a woman when she walks away. You lose her when she stops believing that her voice matters, that effort is mutual, that love is a partnership and not a performance. She did not stop loving, she stopped hoping, and hope is the quiet engine of every lasting relationship. Without it, love becomes a memory, affection becomes a habit, and staying becomes survival. She stayed longer than she should have because she believed love was supposed to be patient, but no one tells you how painful patience becomes when you are the only one practicing it. Every unanswered emotion, every half-listened conversation, Every moment she felt like an option instead of a priority slowly taught her a truth she never wanted to learn. She learned that love without effort feels like loneliness with company, and hope begins to die the moment you realize you are fighting for a future someone else is comfortable losing. She did not wake up one day and decide to leave. She woke up one day and realized she was already alone. That realization changes everything. When hope disappears, love no longer feels inspiring, it feels heavy, and staying starts to feel like self-betrayal. So when she finally walks away, she is not running from love, she is running toward peace, because choosing herself was the only way left to survive. She gave more time than she ever planned to, because hope has a strange way of convincing you that tomorrow will be kinder than today. She kept believing that if she loved harder, explained softer, and stayed quieter, the relationship would eventually feel balanced. But love is not meant to feel like self-erasure. Slowly, she began adjusting herself to fit into spaces that never expanded for her, calling it compromise, calling it patience, calling it love. Inside, though, something kept hurting, not loudly, not dramatically, but constantly. Every time she felt unheard, every time her emotions were minimized, every time effort was promised but never repeated, hope lost another layer. She started questioning herself instead of the situation, wondering if she was too emotional, too sensitive, too demanding, when in reality she was simply asking for presence, consistency, and care. Over time, she learned that loneliness can exist even when someone is right next to you, and that realization is devastating. The hardest part was that she still loved deeply, but love without reassurance feels unsafe, and love without growth feels suffocating. She stayed because leaving felt like failure, but staying slowly felt like betrayal to herself. When she finally chose to walk away, it was not out of anger or resentment, it was out of clarity. She understood that hope cannot survive where effort is optional and respect is inconsistent. Walking away was not her giving up on love. It was her refusing to keep loving in a place where she was slowly disappearing.